State of the Nation, being the 10th of August 2021, tarehe 10 mwezi wa 8 mwaka 2021. Natumai kwamba uko salama, umeamka vizuri. Kama unaenda ofisini, natumai kwamba tayari ushafika pale ofisini, na kama unaenda kwenye jua kali kutafuta na kusaka riziki ya siku, natumai kwamba ushafika pale kwenye bandani. Wanasema kazi ni kazi, wera ni wera, boka ni mboka. Haya, amkeni tujenge nchi, lakini baridi nyiko Nairobi na kitu inaitwa traffic jam. Haya, poleni, lakini amkeni vizuri. I hope you're well. Naona kuna majamaa maamka hapa tayari. Kama kawaida, I request that when you join in, please like. When you like, I get to know that you're watching us, and after you like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. This is the talk and it begins now. Lakini kabla tujaanza, tunaenda mbele za Mungu kama kawaida, tunaomba alafu tukirudi na kuja kuwapa salamu zenu. Naona maamka tayari mapema. Nimesikia kuna watu wanatolewa nchi kidogo, watu wanazamishwa, uchumi pia iko pale. Siasa inaendelea kuzidi. IEBC wameleta kitu inaitwa capping. They have started the capping, the campaign capping expenditures. Presidential, kunasikia kuna MC alitumia 20 million. Mimi sijaelewa. Why would you put 20 million in politics? Lakini anyway, Kenya siasa ni biashara. Tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe, alafu tukirudi tunajua ni vipi. Tuko na jamaa anaitwa Karaoke Ngunjiri, memuita sana kwa muda mrefu, na tuko na jamaa hapa anaitwa Akalanyakanga. Alakanya. Amunga wa ANC Party, mtu wa Mudavadi na Atuoli. Natuambia State of the Nation iko vipi. Lakini tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe, alafu tukirudi na kuja kuwapa salamu zenu. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity that we are live this Tuesday morning. We thank you for this program. We thank you for every tackler that has joined us. May you meet them at their point of need. As we start this conversation, we pray that you may be with us. Every conversation we're going to have, may it edify the fabric of this country. We pray this, trusting and believing in Jesus' mighty name. We pray and believe. Amen and amen. Haya. Nimeona kuna ngona mamka hapa balozi. Kuna watu ambao salamu zao zimepotea pale juu kidogo, lakini nitajaribu kusoma zile nimeziona. Balozi Eric Meja Seregea alikuwa Kakamega County already tuned in. Thank you. Mwangigi Kui, good morning. Good morning to my brother Devs tuned in from Nairobi. Jones Mien ndani. Asante Mungu alita continue. My brother all the way from the UK morning team tackle tuning in from Convent United Kingdom. Good to be part of this morning State of the Nation edition. Asante sana Balozi Eric Meja. Nasema I love the show. I love the presenter Gerald Bitok Seregea Likuyani Kakamega County already tuned in. Good to see you my brother. Joseph Kathungu Urwaka tuned in. Thank you. Chayan Babahona Madam Saludos crack. Luga ingine imefika huko. Send me greetings crack. All right. Good to see you. All right. I'll receive your greetings Chayan Babona. Good to see you. Simon Samuelson Thiga. Hey, good morning. Watching live from the Nax Vegas. By the way, I was about to think my phone has problems. Sorry. We got a bit late, but we're starting off. David Kamau, good morning team tackle. I wish everyone a blessed day. Good to see you. Klishirikwa, be blessed at all. Gerald Bitok, your advice helped me a lot. Niko na mbuzi yenu 10 and Billy. Wow, thank you so much my brother Klish. You can inbox me, then we'll talk. Asante sana, and we're happy that things worked out for you. You can inbox me your number, then I'll give you a call. David Bet, good morning, tuned in from Sisibo. Good to see you. Mandera bloggers watching from Mandera. Good to see you Mandera blogger. Thank you also for giving us the support that you give us on Twitter. We really appreciate. David Kamau, we have 10 more days to jue kama BBI itaendelea. Ondieki Misiani Paul, good morning. The tackle Paul Misiani tuned in from Rongai Kajiado. Good to see you. Safaris by Jane Limited. Hey, ala Safaris by Jane. Do you? Umepiga follow haraka sana. Safaris by Jane Limited. Good morning from Nairobi. Good to see you Jane. Keter Bernard watching live at Narumoru with Dixon Sigei and my dad Joseph Cherio. Asante sana, salimia watu wa Narumoru. Good to see you. Good morning my brother. Good morning to you my brother. Garoki wa Masi following and watching from Kayole, Nairobi, waiting to hear and watch Karaoke akimkimbiza Amunga. Haya, kinaweza geuka. Haya. Johnson Keke tunasema mheshimiwa tutatoa wapi 40 million ya campaign. Good morning sir. Mimi nimeachana hivi. 40 million nipeleke kwa siasa. Tupande nyanya bwana. Johnston, tupande nyanya. Nyanya 40 million tunaweza uza mpaka watu watoke kwa kiti. Meren Kepe o Lekiracha tuned in. Good to see you. CK Kanisha is always a great show to be in. Thank you so much, CK. Lawi Kiblaga Cherop, good morning, Gerald Bitok. I'm tuned in from Mogotio, Baringo County. Joseph Kitungo, System and Dipster tuko tuned in. Good to see you. Hiya, okay. Emmanuel Serem, Mamsho, Andreba Moses, Niganet, Kwebene Niganet, Leonard Serem, Natasha Meto na Cheptap Kibri. That's good to see you. Bro Victor, kwani uchaguzi ilifanyika lini? Ndio tukue na youth leader. Uwezi jua, unajua uchaguzi kila mtu ni kiongozi kwa njia. Hata mimi ni kiongozi wa kwangu. Samir, good morning Taklas. I'm watching live from Mogotio. Salimia Karaoke Ngunjiri sana. Amesalimika Mike Tanui. San Antonio, TX Soy constituency. San Antonio, Texas. All right. Eric Mangigig, my brother, good to see you. Morning bro. Say hi to fellow tacklers waambie wao ni maridadi. Asante sana Eric Mangigig, CEO Maridadi Motors. Good to see you my brother. Hapo umeamka vizuri na umeanza kuuzia Wakenya magari. Colimo Tips sasa tuned in from Thika. Moi succession politics in place. Hard. Daisy Maridadi Mutawala tuko ndani. Asante Danny Branson. Good morning. Good morning. Nani? Danny Branson anasema Dan Kibe first time in the show. I see we start a prayer. That's wonderful. Looking forward to it. Haya mpe makofi. Danny Branson ni mtu wa kwanza. Makofi kwa Danny Branson Douglas. Na makofi hapa haraka upesi. Haya. Danny Branson ndio makofi yako. Evans comment, good morning Bito, good morning to Meren Kope El Kiracha, good morning Bito, watching live from Samburu. James Ntengalesh live in Kilgoris. Kwa Busaki tuning from General Bito representing Rongai constituency Nakuru County. Asante sana. Wacha tulipe madeni kidogo alafu tukirudi na kuja kuwaonyesha wageni. Tanzania Maridadi Motors gives you an opportunity to import directly. When you import directly with Maridadi Motors, you get to save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings. Ukiingiza gari kutumia Maridadi Motors, unaweza kusave up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings kwa pesa ambazo ungeweza kutumia pesa taslim laki tatu. 300,000, you never get to get such a deal anywhere else. Also, Maridadi Motors gives you an opportunity to invest your money. If you have your money that's lying somewhere, you can invest in the import to sell model, where they get to import the car under your name, jina lako, alafu wanakuuzia. Unaweza kupata faida ya 15% up to 15% profits for investment that you put in Maridadi Motors import to sell model. Maridadi Motors as well gives you an opportunity to save. You need to learn how to save. Unaekeza pesa yako kidogo pale, and then when it gets to a point where you want to buy a car, you can get the guy 50% savings. Kama ulikuwa unataka gari ya milioni 1 na umewekeza, umesave 500,000 Kenyan shillings, unaletewa gari alafu ile nyingine unaanza kulipia polepole ukisonga na gari yako. That is Maridadi Motors. Maridadi Motors Sacco inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuwekeza pesa akiba, alafu pia unaweza pata gari kwa bei nafuu at 50% savings. You get to drive off as you pay the balance. Unaweza kuleka ukiweka polepole akiba. Kama kuna pesa pia imelala mahali, unaweza wekea pale alafu unaweza kupata faida ya 15%. Na kama unataka kuimport gari, you can save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings when you import with Maridadi Motors. Maridadi Motors, best cars at best prices. Pia kuna kitu inaitwa Maridadi Driving Academy. Kama umenunua gari ama umeenda pale ukasave pesa yako 50%, ukapata gari yako shwari, ama uliimport directly na hujui kuendesha gari, Maridadi Driving Academy inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuwa driver maridadi zaidi. Unakimbia pale, unaweza kufanyia training kali sana, alafu ukifika pale barabarani unakuwa driver ambaye unajielewa. Alafu pia Sparkling, gari yako ushanunua iko na vumbi kidogo Mombasa, unaenda pale Sparkling Motorspa Siata Mall nyuma pale, unaweza kuoshewa haraka upesi, gari yako inang'ara zaidi, alafu miguu pia inapakwa polish, gari yako inatoka hapo bana, unasikia hata kuibeba kwenye mgongo. Dexter Roofing your world inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuezeka nyumba yako. You can roof your world with quality roofing shingles na pia stone coated tiles. Nyumba yako inakaa shwari zaidi. Among the projects that they have done, Brookhouse School, kuna pia pale The Ab, kama unaendanga pale karo mwana The Ab Mall, hiyo roof pia ni ya Rex Roofing. Wanakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuweka nyumba yako roof safi zaidi na pia kutumia quality shingles, stone coated tiles, na pia kama unajenga nyumba yako unaweka flat roof, kuna mambo ambayo inaitwa waterproofing. Kwa nauza pia waterproofing membrane, alafu nyumba yako inakuwa safi zaidi, haiwezi kushika maji ama haiwezi kulika maji kwenye ukuta ama kwenye roof. Alafu pia anakupa kitu inaitwa water harvesting gutters, UPVC. Watu wamezoea kutumia mabati ambayo inashika kutu sana. UPVC water harvesting gutters unaweza kuchukua kutoka Rex Roofing, alafu basi unafanya kitu inaitwa water harvesting, maji inakuja ni safi zaidi. Rex Roofing your world. Kuna airtime pia, Swift Airtime inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kununua airtime yako kwa njia rahisi zaidi. Enda pale kwa paybill number, weka business number 325325, account number yako ya simu, alafu unaweza kupata discount ya up to 5% when you buy airtime through Swift Airtime. Kama una pesa hata balance, unaweza tumia inaitwa nini, Fuliza. Alafu mzigo pia unaweza itisha mzigo ukaweza kufanywa doorstep delivery na majamaa wa Zigo wanaitisha, wanakufanyia delivery kwa mlango yako Nairobi. Nambari yao iko pale kwenye screen, unaweza zungumza nao kama kuna delivery ya package unataka kufanya ama zawadi unataka kutumia mtu, alafu mambo inakuwa shwari zaidi. Haya, naona kuna watu wameamka hapa zaidi, acha nimalize salamu yao wangwana. Alafu tukirudi tunakuja tunaingia kazi haraka upesi. Sos Kabelas ndani boss, good morning GB, good morning to you my brother Sos Kabelas. Muso JB, good morning, be talk tuned in from Dona. Mpotea sana Muso, good to see you. Andungu Wanjiru Margaret Makit Jabe tuned in from Kiamba. Say hi to Kariuki Ngunjiri, Asla Nation tuko Imara. PK Kimuta Nzama live and clear from a disclosed location in Deep State. Kiparion Kore Dominic, good morning to you. Sogon Nel Sango, good morning. Bitok I to my former teacher Kipsigis Girls, Mr. Amunga. Tumeni sadaka. Cynthia Chebletin, good morning. Mbaye Mbuduri Charles, good morning. Bitok watching from Membli Ruiru. Charles Kirui, good morning. GB watching you from Karen, good to see you. Charles Festus Kanda, good morning. Gerald Bitok, where is our girlfriend Muluya? Which one? Tangaza, Lucia. Abani nani? Kimutai Marcus, good morning. Gerald Bitok watching live from Voi. Jane Mumbi, today is World Lions Day. Let's all be brave. Asante sana Jane. Just as Rotumo, good morning. Gerald Bitok live from Kangware. Shazi Jebs, good morning. Bitok Kichamege Moiben. Asante sana tuwa Moiben. Tuko pamoja MC Ken. Good morning Gerald Bitok. Haya. Akale Nyakanga.
Yeah.
Good morning bwana.
I'm happy to be here today.
Habari yake?
Mzuri sana. What a wonderful day.
I'm great to be alive.
To be alive and to be on this show. And this show is watched by several people. I came to discover that we have very many people who follow. And we appreciate that there's such a platform that we have to talk about the serious leaders that God has also put in our lives in this country. Like Musalia Mudavadi, men who were talking about giving this country
hata ungemaliza 1 minute kabla hujasema Musalia.
A great future. So we are grateful to be here.
We're happy to see you.
Thank you.
How was your weekend and your early week?
It was fine. We were in church.
Okay.
And we had a great weekend.
All right.
We really want the country to be opened up so that now with 1 year to go, actually 1 year from today, today is 8th of August.
Yes, 10th.
10th,
not
yeah.
8th.
So today, this will be the Tuesday will be the first Tuesday will be 9th. So today we'll be waiting for results to hear who is the next president of this republic. 1 year from today. So
1 year.
Yeah. So it is quite a day and a half. It's a day of anticipation. It's a day of hope. We are now 1 year into the election of 2022. Kenya is about, as you said earlier, Kenya ni biashara ya siasa. Politics in Kenya is what makes this country go around. So it's good we are now in the election year, 2022.
Iko ndani. Haya, Michael Maigwa anasema salamu za asubuhi, twende kazi. Asante sana ndugu yangu. Blessed Frank all there from YouTube, good morning. All good morning to you. Gilbert Bowen, good morning sir. Gerald Bitok, I'm back after being out of town. Good to see you my brother Gilbert, karibu tena. Joel Gibet, good morning team Tackle, and good to see you again. Haya, salamu zenu nitaendelea kuwatumia watu wa YouTube, ingieni pale haraka upesi alafu tutaweza kuzungumza pamoja. Karibu Ngunjiri, good morning.
Thank you so much. This wait has been palpable. And finally we are here.
Ingereza tupu. What is palpable?
It's been
long coming.
It's been characterized by intense feeling and anxiety to be on the tackle. So, and I could see various people telling you, oh, Bitok, you need to call Ngunjiri. I'm finally here. And I think we'll have a fantastic show.
It's good to see you.
So as we move forward, my friend.
Yes.
I think you forgot to tell them that wherever and whenever Musalia Mudavadi is on the ballot, we always know that he's not going to finish the race as the presidential candidate. And I know it's not going to be different this time round. I anticipate a situation whereby he will say Raila Tosha. So if you had any hopes to ever visit the House of the Hill, perhaps through the patronage of Raila Odinga. So we in the Hustler Nation, we are determined to Bitok, and we have already outlined what we intend to do for Kenyans through the bottom-up economic model, which stipulates various tenets of bringing our society to a betterment and making sure that we make meaningful livelihoods for the people of Kenya. We have a plan for Kenya. I think our friends in the former NASA alliance have continued with their rhetoric to sell empty promises and false hope to Kenyans, and we will beat them. We are ready, and I ask them not to continue asking us rhetorical questions, but to bring us their trickle-down economic model which they subscribe to, and also make a preparation for a very heated battle in 2022.
Wajipange.
Wajipange.
Wakaza mshipi.
Yes.
Haya, Ngunjiri, what is the state of the nation?
I think that the state of the nation, first of all, it's a sad state of affairs. This morning, Bitok, that as we speak, an investor who had a promising future for the youth folk of this country through, for example, creation of enterprise that would have in future created a lot of opportunities for the people of Kenya, has been forced out of the country. And this is not a case of first. In 2017, you can remember, and the General Miguna also suffered the same fate. I think that as a country, and the same can be quoted of Mr. Dangote from Nigeria, who also wanted to invest in the factory of producing cement here in Kenya. But as a country, we've had a very dire culture of not wanting to encourage enterprise. And so it is a sad morning for me that in the community of nations, we have ranked ourselves as almost to a banana republic, where we have somebody being issued a permit to do business here in Kenya, but they end up being forced out of the country just because of political card setting. I think that looking at what is happening at the country, especially through the economic discourse that we have today, the conversation has changed, and people are now beginning to discuss important issues. Even if I fault them for misquoting us and taking this discussion to another dirty direction, like his chieftain, Musalia Mudavadi, I think that we are headed to the right direction, and Kenyans are now on the table, and they are agreeing to discuss this noble idea of transforming the country. Many have been asking, why is William Ruto proposing these things, and yet he has a lot of members of parliament, and he can be able to do that registration and make sure it is implemented. If you have read of what we know today as the Montesquieu doctrine of separation of powers, you can understand that the work of the executive is to implement government policy. And like Kenyans know, and I want to remind them, William Ruto was chased out of government. He no longer advises the government. Nobody listens to him at the highest council of decision making. And so even if, and he has already given his proposals in the recent past, some which were attributed to, for example, the discourse on the change of the constitution. And you know that when you don't have those policies being adopted and implemented in cabinet, then you are doing a zero-sum game. So in this case, I think that it will be an amiable opportunity when he takes government next year for him to be having full control of the affairs of the republic and implement the policies which now are dusting in the shells of government ministries. I think that going forward, and as we begin this show, the state of the nation, with the collapse of the Big Four, has brought to us a time to rethink and shift our focus from what has now been killed as the BBI and the constitutional change to a radical economic policy shift, which we are discussing and which we have offered to Kenyans through the bottom-up economic model.
Okay. All right. Peter Amunga, what is the state of the nation? What is the state of the nation?
Yes. Ngunjiri, eh? It's called Ngunjiri?
Ngunjiri, yes.
Ngunjiri, the state of the nation is as follows. One, the Hustler nation is undergoing a beating. The beating is because of a certain Turkish national who was in this country and an aborted trip to Uganda. It has brought out a lot of issues that we didn't know can happen. One, it has brought out the mistrust that is in the Hururuto duo or government. You know, we can't separate two people. They're like cement twins. There are people who came into power together. they were elected together. The state of the nation is these people came into power together, have reached a place right now where one of them can want to visit a foreign country, and it appears like he didn't get permission. The other friend of his does not know. These are the people who are wearing the same ties, same shirts. People told us they'll give us stadiums. People told us they'll give us laptops. People assured us that this country will be they'll leave this country a better way than they found it. The state of the nation is such that this person was deported or was told to buy his own ticket and go back to where he came from. This person, we are told, was an investor. He was a fruit vendor. We've been told all these things. The state of the nation right now, Ngunjiri and Binabitok and our listeners, is such that somebody can make a call to Equity Bank and secure a loan of 15 billion for a foreigner. It's something that we heard on radio. Hustlers like Ngunjiri here and others, like maybe Bitok or any other, must be wondering if this phone call can also be made so that they also can get, even if it's just 200 bob, leave alone 15 billion. Because many of us, even to get a Fuliza or to get a simple loan from anybody is very hard. But in this country, there are people who can make a call and get 15 billion. It's the state of the nation this morning. We ask ourselves, is this possible? Does it happen? The state of the nation is such that somebody can borrow money from Kenya and invest in Uganda. Now, is that what we call the bottom-up economy? That you can come and borrow money from Kenya? A foreigner can come into this country, borrow money, and go to invest that money in another country. Those are the questions that are going on today in the minds of Kenyans. And as Kenyans, we are saying, time for this kind of political deceit, kind of political conmanship, promises, semantics, bottom up, what, these kind of things, we have used to them. We have heard them before. We've heard of these things of Tialaland, T-Beam. This year, 2022, as we go into the election year, today is the second Tuesday of August, 2021. The next second Tuesday of August, 2022, we shall be voting. We are saying as Kenyans, it is now time to interrogate all this information that we are getting. We don't just listen to what media is saying as Kenyans. We need to interrogate. How did this foreigner come in? How did he get 15 billion? How did he go to Uganda? Why was he deported? What other underlying games are going on? Once we get to know the true picture, as Kenyans, we'll have to look for a president, a person who will take over from these people, this Ruto government, who can push us forward in a manner that is a bit transparent and in a way that Kibaki led us to make this economy go back to where it was. That is the state of the nation.
I think that let us look at the objective subject rather than the subjective motivation behind the reason why the Turkish investor decided to invest in Uganda. Like you know, this country has a culture of discouraging such people. And this is what we want to cure when we say that we must bring more people from the informal sector to the formal sector, and we must call to a stop this culture of criminalizing enterprise. In this case, Bitok, you know that in sub-Saharan Africa, and this has been the culture, when investors are motivated to do business with African states, there are several factors that they look at. And I want to give you an example with what is happening in Uganda. When you look at the Ugandan government, led by President Yoweri Museveni and NRM, they have made it their policy on an every day-to-day basis that because they don't have the capacity to develop Uganda at the rate that they would want through the local mechanisms that are available within the economic ecosystem, then they attract investors, in which I think even President Kenyatta here in Kenya has tried in the past, but unfortunately that has come to be something else. In Uganda today, the economy has been run by international corporations, that you can confirm. And the speed at which President Museveni, since he took over in 1986, has been able to transform that country, comparing from
get
where
your time.
it was.
We will not talk about
And
No, Uganda cannot be a benchmark for Kenya.
We are not
our-
benchmarking.
Our economy cannot be compared.
We are not benchmarking.
Amunga, you'll have your time.
We are not benchmarking.
Please, we have to move on. Ngunjiri. Don't talk about
Can
Uganda.
you give me my time?
Okay,
Let him
please.
finish his time.
You will have to listen
You'll
to
tackle
me,
him.
even if you don't like what I say. So, Uganda, compared to where it was under President Milton Obote and General Idi Amin Dada, I think that the president of Uganda, even if we don't aspire to go the same way, the president has attracted international investors. And I want to bring you to this discussion that we are having about the Turkish investor. So the subject of why the Turkish investor would choose to go and do business in Uganda as opposed to Kenya is because of the motivation by government that President Museveni has precipitated in our neighboring country here. I also want to mention, because I saw ODM bringing a lot of empty rhetoric, and I think that they were very idle. They told us that NRM in Uganda has been a dictatorship, which I cannot dispute. But at the same time, I want to argue, and this has been the culture within the mentality of African people. There is no democratic house or value house that has been set by the Western project, which should determine how African states should behave and how they should always conduct their affairs.
So would you be happy if Kenya was being run the way Uganda is being run?
No. I'm not saying. I'm saying that as an independent country and as a country that has its own citizens and government and a country that has a defined territory, like it is stipulated in the Montevideo Convention, which was held in Uruguay, I think that the people of Kenya, the people of Uganda have the autonomy to be the determiners of their own destiny, whichever way they like it. And they must be allowed to conduct their affairs in the manner in which they would want that done. They have elected President Museveni for another term. And yet, we are here being those that are mourning more than the bereaved. I think that we should let President Museveni be in his country and whatever he's doing there. We have no business in trying to interfere with the affairs of the people of Uganda. You see, I want the people of Kenya to understand that democracies and republics have grown out of a protracted organic process that should not be influenced by Western cultures, values, norms, and traditions. We must allow our own African state to grow as it should. So, as I finish on this one, I think that as a country, we need to have a paradigm shift on the way we tackle this issue of foreign investors, because our culture is the one that is chasing away these investors, and that is why an investor chooses to go to Uganda. Then let me also mention the question of I also want to mention on the question of what is said about hustlers. That today you need to, I don't know, get freezer and everything. I think that you have already seen from our presidential candidate, Bwana Amunga, when he says that we need to, for example, anchor and bolster the ease of doing business as a very important component of this country. In this country, to hawk eggs at Koja market here, you need connection, which has locked a lot of hustlers out of business. Those are some of the bureaucracies that when...
As I give to Amunga, Ngunjiri, you said that the investor would have given Kenyan youth a lot of business opportunities, but you're saying it is nothing in Uganda.
Yes.
What is the relationship between Kenya and Uganda?
No, you see, that is a question of fate.
Okay.
In this case, I mean that how you treat someone and how you take diplomatic issues and how you accommodate visitors and people who have come to do things that would benefit the people of Africa, also signals whether you can be able in future to benefit from the same person. If that Turkish investor would have intended, for example, to go and do the farming business in Kirinyaga County today, would they ever come back to? I don't even think they would even step back here in the country. Again, we have made a very serious strategic diplomatic blunder by what the actions of government, and these are some of the things that I think are bringing us back to where we've been.
Amunga, should are you happy about the deportation of the investor?
First of all, it is unfair that the hustlers and the people who come from, who normally talk about the DP, they try to paint our country as if our country is so bad. You know, when you start hearing them now, starting telling us, lecturing us about how Uganda is doing this and what, it makes us feel so sad, you know. And I think that's the narrative somebody's training them. I don't know if it's David Ndi who is training people like Ngunjiri to talk like the way they are talking. Because, you know, Ngunjiri is a guy who wanted us to secede as a country. You know, not Ngunjiri, sorry, David Ndi. So if those are the kind of advisors that are advising the DP and his friends like Ngunjiri here, you feel so bad. Kenya is not bad to the level that we can start talking about that investors have now run away, all of them to go to Uganda. One Turkish investor. When we have got investors here, we have people like Bill Gates in this country. We have people, we have Koreans, we have Chinese, we have people. One example of one Turkish man whose name was being confused for a terrorist. We are yet even to be sure if it is true, is a terrorist or not.
I've said they arrested the wrong person.
Yeah, it is something under still, questionable circumstances. What we are saying is, can the hustler nation stop this business of them trying to paint people and nowadays painting the country bad? They specialize in insults, in painting everyone bad. Uhuru is bad, he has done this, Mudavadi is drunk. You know, I don't know. We have to reach a place, Kenyans. And let me say this for Kenya wangu. When those who are listening, people like Ngunjiri here and others who go to TV to talk these kind of things. You are what? You know, I used to go to church when I was in Kenyatta University. There used to be a CU, and we used to be told, and William and Madam Mama Rachel, we used to be in the CU, and we used to be told that you possess what you claim. You are what you talk. If your mouth every time, Ngunjiri, is always about just bad, we can't even sell eggs, we can't do this. What solutions are you guys giving? And when you talk about bottoms up, and I sat on this table with another guy also from the same hustler movement, and he could not explain what bottoms up is. It's the same thing I'm saying Ngunjiri started.
Not bottoms up, bottom up.
Bottom up. Even Ngunjiri right now started telling me things about X. That is not the thing we want. We want to be told, this Turkish investor, if really you people have a clear plan that you can give somebody, tell us how you have helped this Turkish investor, a hustler like you also maybe, that he can have come to Kenya, settled in this country, and done business. That will be a good point. But you tell us you got money for him to go to another country to do business. Bitok, I'm happy the man was deported. He is not adding value to this country. He doesn't add value to any hustler in this nation. This man has come to take our money, our savings. Me, I have some little money in Equity Bank. I have some 2,000, 5,000 in
Uganda.
Equity Kenya.
You are not in Uganda. They were talking about Uganda.
No, they call Equity Mother Branch is here in Nairobi. This money was borrowed from some of my savings and given to this man to take to Uganda. So all we are saying, wacha huyu jamaa kwende, wacha apelekwe kule anapelekwa.
Na pesa yako imepeanwa utatoa wapi?
Sisi hiyo pesa tuko na watu hapa Kenya, tuko na mahasla wengi sana. Niliona kijana mmoja huko Murang'a who was even asking the DP, you normally come here to tell us that, the things Ngunjiri is saying that this country has no money, hustlers are being harassed. How did you manage to get 15B to send somebody to Uganda? Bring the same money. Even if you can get youth groups in this country, in Murang'a, in Kiambu, can we bring money to the pockets of people in Kiambu? And these people who are taking these things are in power. You know, me, I'm a Musalia Mudavadi man. Musalia Mudavadi has not been in power for the last 10 years. The last time Musalia Mudavadi was in office was when he was the deputy prime minister and finance minister in 1993. You are even born. So those are the days that I'm proud of. I'm nostalgic that I had a leader who was able to change things when he was in power. Ngunjiri and others come to these studios to tell us about a leader who is still in power, who is ruling, who lives in a mansion, who is guarded by security and guards and everybody, and is telling me we are hustler, we are not in government. And this is a leader whom yesterday I saw apologize on behalf of Kenya government to the Turkish government and tell them, I'm sorry on behalf of the Republic of Kenya that this man was deported. We are talking about people in power. We're not talking about people who are like me, who are on the streets. Musalia Mudavadi must come up strongly in the next few days and tell people the true economic blueprint that he has. This bottom up, those are just things that can make people like Ngunjiri happy to talk about. But the real thing, the economy, how Kibaki ran an economy. Kibaki didn't need to go singing slogans.
All right. We'll get to that economic conversation, but let's close on the Turkish. You have any? You have any remote?
Yes. I
Very
think
quickly.
that,
Then we move to the economy. Don't tell us about Kibaki. Tell us about the blueprint of Mudavadi. He'll tell us about the bottom up. Let's close on the Turkish guy.
You have cut me short.
Okay, sorry. I think the
You're
problem
talking about the economy. That's
the problem with our critics, Bitok, is that they keep on asking us rhetorical questions. I have explained to you the reason why a Turkish investor chooses to invest in Uganda over Kenya, and I finished that. Two, I have also explained to you what I think should happen for this republic if we are to have the economic transformation that we seek to have. Already, we had a manifesto through the Jubilee government.
Yes.
That manifesto was taken aside. And I think we were told that there were priority issues that were pressing more than making sure that the young people of Kenya get jobs through manufacturing, affordable housing. And now, I think that the current administration has focused so much on brick and mortar, and it has ignored the most important component of making sure that our people have money in their pocket. That is what we want to change.
Okay. Let's move to the economic conversation in three minutes. So 1.5 minutes. I'll start with you. What's the economic model that you preach?
Yes.
And don't mention Kibaki.
Musalia
Mudavadi had the economic model.
Finance minister who recovered this country's economy when it was down, when it had been ruined, and who Moi picked right after the university to come and head the finance docket, has been talking about economy for more than any of us can remember. And he has already a very good economic blueprint and plan. He is calling it Uchumi Bora. Now, trickle down, those are ODM things that we are not part of. I think they are trying to copy the hustler thing. Economy that works for all. Uchumi Bora simply means an economy that works for all. Whether they are hustlers, whether they are people who have middle class, whether they are people who have money in their accounts, whether they're like the Turkish investor. The economy that works for all goes like this. Musalia Mudavadi has got 3 pillars. Okay. 1, stop corruption. Corruption is where all our resources as a country ends. Uhuru Ruto government has failed when it comes to corruption. They can't talk about it. Ngunjiri will not talk to anyone here about corruption this morning because he knows that it is a topic, if he started talking, will not end this conversation. Musalia Mudavadi is able to talk about stopping corruption because he knows that's where the money ends up. We can't talk about bottom up or anything if corruption is still on the table. That thing called corruption must be slain. We must be serious about corruption. Number 2, a lean government. Lean government, Ngunjiri, means we don't need CISs, county directors, what have you, all this kind of, like in the education sector, we have got KICD, IEBC, what director, Ministry of Education, Teacher Service Commission, around 10 or 30 bodies working on one small thing about a child. Musalia Mudavadi is talking about we can restructure our government such that we have got a lean government. Lean, even ministers. We don't need to have even CISs. We don't need to have all those people. We just need a lean government that can serve efficiently. Do you know you can serve even with 10 ministers, even 12 ministers? Musalia Mudavadi is also now talking about taxes. Listeners, the thing that is hurting you most this morning is not a bad economy. It is the taxes that we are paying. For every fuel that you buy, coming like I came with around 500 shillings from where I've come from to this house, I've used 500 shillings which I put in fuel. 430 of that 500 went to tax. The only money that went for my fuel was 70 shillings. Tax is the biggest problem in this country. The day we get a person who can address tax, and that person must be a person who is an economist, not a hustler, not somebody running around on the streets and with slogans. It will have to be a person who went to university and studied and knows what it means. Kibaki, you did tell me not to mention Kibaki.
Stop talking about Kibaki.
Okay, a person similar to Kibaki. A person
Stop talking about Kibaki.
So this person is Musalia Mudavadi. Musalia Mudavadi has proven it. He has done it. It's just that he doesn't shout and make noise and abuse people. He is a person who is a gentleman. He knows how to mix with all of us.
So number 1, stop corruption. 2, lean government. 3, reduce taxes.
Reduce taxes. With those 3 things, we'll have an economy that doesn't work only for a hustler. It works for everyone, so including the Turkish investor.
Okay. So let's start with stopping corruption. Okay,
Yes.
That's fine. We all talk about it. So let's talk about taxes.
Yes, sir.
So if a government reduces taxes, how does it raise income? Because the government is not in business.
Yes.
And when we also talk about a lean government, is he not a proponent of BPI, which expands government?
Please, BBI, first of all, I think is no longer even there. And Musalia, I've put it clearly. Musalia asked questions about BBI. Before, in the Bomas 2 conference at the Bomas of Kenya, Musalia was the first person to stand up and say, I question some of the allocations in this BBI. The next person who questioned again, of course, was William Ruto, and we supported them for that. Again, when it comes now to taxes, or let me finish with the lean government. A lean government, even BBI, as much as it's talking about an expanded up here, you know, the people who are, so that there's sharing of power. Sorry, it simply means, it doesn't mean that we'll have a government full of ministers and everybody part of the government. This government needs to be made smaller.
Okay.
We must reduce the ministers. We must reduce the CSS. Jubilee government was a coalition. And that is why the first time Jubilee came to power, URP and TNA, you saw William Ruto named his government. And this guy, the President Uhuru Kenyatta, also named his part. Of course, William Ruto named people from his area, from where he comes from. At least Uhuru. So that government became too big. That is where Musalia wants to start from. Reduce the government.
Right.
Taxes. Kenyans, these taxes go to service corruption. If you stop corruption, you will be able to reduce taxes. If you stop money from going to Arwar, Kimaroer, and all these corruption things that we have been reading about, a lot of money will be saved. That's what Mudavadi will work on. That's what Kibaki did. Kibaki reduced it. Kibaki dealt with it. Although he didn't achieve 100%, but he dealt with it.
Okay.
I think that Musalia Mudavadi...
No, tell us about bottom.
Yes, first
Musalia.
let me respond to that. I think that Musalia Mudavadi and the likes of Amunga have no gist to the components of the economy that they keep on talking about. All of them are caught in between their own contradictions, because on one hand, they tell us that they are going to reduce taxes, and then on the other hand, they tell us they are going to have uchumi bora. So how do you have uchumi bora when you don't have an even distribution of the tax burden in the country? So one wonders why what they speak, and this is the same false hope and the same empty rhetoric that I keep on talking about from our critics. Again, they also tell us about a lean government, and like it was said earlier, and you asked that by Bitok.
Yes.
What do you mean by lean government? And you have been proposing to support the BBI, and you were quoted even in BBI meetings as having supported the BBI. So this speaks to the level of indecisiveness with Musalia Mudavadi, who wants to be president of the Republic of Kenya. Let me come to the bottom-up economic model. First of all, for a long time, and this has not been only a problem in Kenya, but in sub-Saharan Africa, in East Asia, and sometimes it has also happened in Western Europe. Impersonal application of public policy has been a problem in Kenya, whereby it's been that I have to know a certain minister so that my son can get a job in the Ministry of Education. I have to know the Minister of Roads so that the road leading to my village can be tarmacked. Where I come from, in Murang'a County, Maragua constituency, Itaga village, I have to have the Cabinet Secretary of Energy so that I can have a transformer there. In political science, that is called patronage. We seek, as a Hustler Nation, to have to kill patronage and make sure that we have what is called impersonal application of public policy, which shall be the only means by which a government will be able to gain legitimacy or be seen to be working. It has happened in Rwanda. And today, if you go to Rwanda, people don't have to go to the streets so that they can get development. The president of Rwanda, President Kagame, doesn't have to meet leaders from certain provinces to send a political message, while at the same time asking them what they want to be done for in their locality. The president of the Republic of Rwanda will make sure that there is even distribution of public policy, which is, in essence, the decision that the government makes towards its people. That is one. Number two, we also need to remember that for you to help the youth folk of this country and the people of Kenya, one, you either create jobs or make sure that you give them a better environment for them, or the best environment for them to do business. On the ease of doing business here in Kenya, we seek to scrap the bureaucracy that we've been having. I gave you an example that for you to hawk eggs today, you need connection at Koja here. For you to get, for example, the kitties that are available for startups, you need so many qualifications for you to do that. It's part of the problem that we've been having for startups and for people who are trying to come up in business. On the employment issue, we also seek to bolster that through manufacturing and through the most important component of making better use of the 3 factors of production, and also maximizing the use of the resources that we have. We also seek in agriculture to improve and make sure that we maximize productivity, because that is where we go back to manufacturing, and through that, through production, we have, for example, creation of local markets and making sure that our items, like it has happened, by the way, in Ghana, President Nana Akufo-Addo has made it compulsory that cocoa from certain provinces in Ghana cannot be sold without going through 3 processes. That is manufacturing, agro-processing, and value addition, which in essence, in the bottom-up economic model, shall be anchored through industries. In those industries, that is where you are able to create job opportunities. We also seek to...
Just a minute, excuse Kido, sorry. I don't know why, Ngunjiri, you'll have to help me and your listeners. Why does that sound like the Jubilee Manifesto of 2017, 2013? You know, just... I wish I'd carried a copy. So that as you read
why
those
don't
things,
you let him finish? Then we'll interrupt
I'm
you.
just asking for to help my readers.
You are distracting my mind to where I was. Let me
Let him finish. Amunga, you had your time, and I protected. Don't be a heckler.
I'm not a heckler.
Okay, wait for Ngunjiri to finish.
Don't be a heckler.
I protected you.
So
let him proceed.
He's even making me lose my
Your bottom up.
my sense of mind. But like I was saying, that for example, through the bringing more people to the informal, or rather to the formal sector, we seek to have an improvement and expansion of the tax base, as opposed to what our colleagues are saying, that is killing the economy. For us, it is very important that, for example, because today we have a lot of people who are doing businesses and they don't feel as part of this country because their enterprises have been criminalized. So we seek to bring more people to the formal sector where, for example, Bitok, like I was mentioning, people who hawk eggs at Koja Market here need to be protected through a hawker's bill. A policy or an institution that shall be anchored in law, and through the implementation of that by government, we shall make sure that you have brought more people to paying taxes. We have an even distribution of taxes, and through the expansion of the tax base, we shall be able to finance the economy without necessarily having to rely on the foreign and the donations and the loans that we go to take from foreign countries. Again, there is also the point of us also improving on our policy on investing not on capital-intensive projects, but on the labor-intensive projects. In this case, while we also continue to build brick and mortar, that is the roads, for example, leading from JKIA to Westlands, also cognizant of the fact that we need to have, for example, an encouragement of people doing small businesses at the grassroots through the cottage industries. Again, like it has happened in Bangladesh, and I also want to refer Amunga to read more on Mohammed Yunus, somebody who has been quoted and has several articles, even on the New York Times. In Bangladesh, it's been a culture of building social businesses whereby you empower people through giving them finances to boost their capital and the startups that we have. Again, we also have a culture as a country of only focusing, for example, on big corporations like Safaricom to give them, for example, tax breaks, while our startups pay taxes even the first month when they have not broken even. That's also a very important component that will make sure that we encourage enterprise in Kenya. Again, as I finish, through the Constitution, the people of Kenya are supreme. And at any given time, any policy that is done by government must always have their voices at heart. In this case, we also seek to have a radical surgery on issues of public participation because that has often been abused. Today, we don't know, for example, in your county, what public participation means. It is the elite who determine what is said. The script is already predetermined, and the people of Kenya never get an opportunity to participate at the highest council of decision making. So all these things brought together, Bitok, bolsters the dream we have for Kenya as a hustler nation.
Okay. You want to...
Yeah, of course.
You want to
I
interrupt?
hope I didn't distract you. But I'm also trying to read the comments of our people. Some of them are questioning things, but I know Bitok will talk about them. I wanted to say this. Anytime I listen to and somebody explain to us about bottom-up, they don't give me the language that I can use on, say, my 2-year-old or my grandmom at home, or they go into a lot of what he was calling rhetoric. Just listen to how Ngunjiri has tried to describe. I have told you, Ngunjiri, this is what Mudavadi intends to do. 3 steps. Taxation, corruption, lean government. 3 things. They are easy to understand. What you've told me and you've told Kenyans, my brother Ngunjiri, and it's not only you. You are like Wahome, Alice Wahome, and others, even David Ndi. You are unable to tell Kenyans what is bottom up. What is to bring bottom to up? You know, how do you explain bottom to up? What is it? When you say bottom up economic policy, what is it? Whom are you bringing from bottom? Take him up to where? And is there somebody up you're bringing down? You know, that's all we want to know. You give us just, because what you're telling us, those are the things that we were told by Ruto in 2017 and 2013, which they've not done. And we are not interested in any more of those things. Kenyans will not go for those kind of things of telling us, oh, in agriculture we'll do this for you, or education will buy you laptops. You told us that many times and you didn't do it. That's why people like Amunga come here and tell people the truth. We are not going to go for those euphoria, those semantics, those kind of things. Jubilee government has failed to deal with one thing: corruption. Jubilee government has failed to deal with another thing, taxation. Jubilee government has also failed by having a big bloated government that the wage bill is too big. We are telling Kenyans, can we try another president, another person who is not part of this Ururuto kind of team, who can tell us how to deal with taxation, government, good management, and corruption? Just 3 things only.
All right, Ngunjiri.
Yes, I
Very
think
quickly.
and this has been a recurring culture.
Make it brief so that your listeners can really understand what is bottom up.
Yes, this has been a recurring culture. My friend Amunga doesn't want to understand the bottom up, and which is going to be the next agenda for the next government, because the government is in waiting, will be WSR's government. So, Amunga, I want you to understand some of these components. The bottom up economic model is premised on the basic fact that for a long time we have ignored the people who matter to the Republic of Kenya, and that is, first of all, those that have held this economy without any meaningful gain, and then us going up. You understand me? We don't say
the hustlers going up.
We don't say that there is anybody who is going to be abandoned in this economic paragon. We are saying that we need an economy that works for each and every person, and in this case, that is why we want to uplift the hustlers in this country. That's why the conversation right now is about empowerment and not power. It is about the people of Kenya and not changing constitution to get positions for a few leaders. We are talking about making sure that we discuss the economy and not politics every time. We have candidates who want to be president in Kenya, like Raila Odinga Bitok. Every time they keep on bringing us issues of political rhetoric. We have heard that for a very long time. Right now, we don't require those political rhetorics and selling of those false hopes. Right now, the people of Kenya are in an urgent need for a government that responds to the basic needs that they have. We have tried, for example, on issues of international trade, and I come from the Mount Kenya region. And as the people of the mountain, for example, I will tell you, because we are bound together by the geographical factors, which include climatic factors. So our main activities, that is, which include farming, must also be looked at. That's why we are talking of issues, for example, of guaranteed minimum prices for our commodities like coffee. Those things have been controlled through state capture. There are certain people who own very huge businesses of exporting coffee and all those other stuff. They have made sure that through the buccaneers, the common farmer and the common Kenyans at the grassroots, who are the hustlers that we are talking about, people who take, for example, 5 kgs of coffee at Kiangoma factory within my locality, do not get what is required, for example, for a kilo of coffee. These are the issues that we want to transform and take government.
While talking, you've talked about people in government and what they have done, what they have not done. Musalia Mudavadi, like you said, has been in government since 1990s. Right, as a minister, he's been a vice president, he's been a deputy prime minister.
10 years he's been out.
On the issues that promises that he's giving us, because you're holding Ngunjiri against the promises of Jubilee. How has Musalia been able to tackle corruption, for instance? How has he been able to tackle taxation issues? How has he been able to tackle conversations on streamlining government? Even as we speak, he has not come out strongly to criticize Jubilee government on the issues he's doing. Anyway, tell us, give us, how has it corruption? How has it been? Because he has been part of the scandals. As we talked about, he's been accused of being part of corruption case that has happened. How has he been able to handle the things that you're promising in London now?
Yes.
And how is he going to do it?
It's a good question, although you have some bias, but it's
I don't have any bias. I'm just like, I've tackled him. I've asked him how is money going to get.
Yes. First of all, Musalia is saying that he's not into models and academic discussions like the one Ngunjiri is having. Models and academic discussions are good at Strathmore University. They are good at Business School of London Business School. Musalia is talking about simple things that make a country move, and he has used them before. You have asked me, can he have does he have a track record? Can he be held accountable?
Let's go back there.
Yes, he can. Because Musalia Mudavadi initiated, you see what we call today KRA, Kenya Revenue Authority. The person who put it into law and who put it into parliament, and it was made a body recognized by the Kenyan law is Musalia Mudavadi when he was the Minister for Finance. Musalia Mudavadi was able during the time of structural adjustment programs in 1993, 95, 97, when World Bank came in to come and claim the type of money that this country, Moi had borrowed, he had overborrowed, public debt. Musalia Mudavadi was brought in to manage the public debt at that time. And the Bretton institutions called the World Bank and the IMF, they gave Musalia Mudavadi an A, a credit, a good pass, distinction, because of the way he was able to help in restructuring the government. You know, Mudavadi at one time was even accused that he's the one who came up with things like retrenchment. You know, there are people who accused him like that. But you know, in the process of doing all that, Mudavadi was able to bring back our economy, which was already skyrocketing. Our money, our shilling was devaluing at a very fast rate. So I want to say this. Musalia has held positions in government as a local government minister. Do you know, recently I listened to Gikomba when this Gikomba fire this weekend. They came to his office and I happened to be at the office. And one of the MCS told Musalia there that when you are minister for local government, you are the person who initiated bylaws in Nairobi County that brought about things like, which have been regulating things like Gikomba market. We need even better laws right now. Musalia comes out as a person who has achieved. He was accused of the golden bag by, of course, ODM and other people. You know, Ngunjiri, I think Ngunjiri confuses Musalia with ODM. Musalia is not ODM. ODM has been very a nuisance to Musalia's candidature. Many times whenever Musalia wants to say anything or to do anything, ODM people will come up and say, Musalia stole, I don't know, money for graves. Truth of the matter is that was a court case. No, you don't say such words on TV, I mean on such a live show. There was such a case. People were even jailed. Gakuo, the person who was in charge of Nairobi County that time, was jailed. He was even put in jail. ODM came up with a story that Musalia, the Ndaragwa MP, Kioni, did not vote for Musalia when he was the running mate. By the way, you have said that Musalia has never gone for presidency. He has. Let me correct you. And Kioni was his running mate. And the story that went around was that Kioni didn't vote for Musalia. In fact, a respectable newspaper like Nation Media quoted that. Kioni took that newspaper to court because it was a lie. We have had so many lies around Musalia. You know, Musalia doesn't abuse people. He does not come out to throw words at people. So he's become an easy punching bag for people just to throw words and say, Musalia did this, he didn't do that, he did that. Musalia has a track record. And that is what Kenyans are looking for. And that's what they saw also in Kibaki. We can't have people coming up with sloganeering. Those slogans, Ngunjiri and our dear listeners, have never helped this country. The Tialalas and the Tibims of ODM, the Tuehamwe, Kumira, I don't know what of Jubilee in 2017, have not helped people. That's why you're talking the way you are talking. Because those slogans don't help people. Kibaki didn't have slogans. Can you give me any slogans that Kibaki had? You don't need slogans to run this country. You need policies, not models.
But you've not told me exactly how he's going to do it, so what he has done before. On corruption, what has he done to fight corruption before? And how is he going to do it?
I hope I'm still in the camera. These policies that Musalia has had.
You want to sit on the table?
These policies that Musalia had when he was a minister for finance, they worked. We can Google. You know, I'm asking our readers who are commenting right now as we are writing. Those of you who are near a table, can you Google Musalia Mudavadi when he was minister for finance, so that when you are posting there, you can tell us what your real evidenced facts. What did he do? He has done so many things in terms of setting up policies, setting up the Kenya Revenue Authority, did all these things.
Okay. Today, let's move from that was taxes. Okay, corruption. What has he done to fight corruption?
Yes. Gentlemen and our dear listeners, first of all, corruption needs the goodwill of the people in power. Musalia was vice president for 3 months in Moi government. 3 months. And then after that, Musalia became a deputy prime minister. The way that we can say Musalia has fought corruption is, one, he fought golden bag and brought the culprits of Golden Back to face the law, including people like Kamlesh Patni. He, Musalia Mudavadi, brought the people who had stolen the graveyard to law. They were even jailed. I'm talking about people like Gakuo. They were jailed, and he passed on when he was in jail. God rest his soul in peace. We are talking about if you are a person who is above board, you are a person who has been accused and you have come out and exonerated yourself. And you have also seen to it that people who are under you, who are under your ministry, have been punished, have been taken to court and jailed. Musalia Mudavadi, listeners, was the Minister for Local Government when the saga of the graves came up. Musalia Mudavadi made sure the person who was involved, the culprit, was not only taken to court, was a dramatic show, he was jailed. That is what Jubilee has failed. That is what Uhuru Ruto have failed.
So Mudavadi jailed.
At least Mudavadi has a track record that when he was in power, the people under him who messed faced the law and they were convicted. How many people today under Uhuru Ruto government, talking about the former finance minister Rotich and many others who have had cases of corruption, how many of them have gone through the laws and been successfully prosecuted? Hakuna hata moja, not even one. So that's why we are saying at least Musalia has a track record.
Okay. All right.
Can you ask me about lean government, or what else do you want to ask now? Corruption I've explained.
So,
taxes I've explained. Lean government, let me see.
I think that this is an irony because on one hand, Amunga tells us that the NASA movement has been a nuisance to Musalia Mudavadi.
Not NASA movement.
But yet
he's the founder of NASA. Musalia is the founder of NASA.
Okay.
There is a man called, there's something called ODM. No, don't confuse words. ODM is not NASA.
Can I finish? So Musalia Mudavadi, or rather Amunga tells us that Musalia Mudavadi has a problem with NASA. And yet, on the other hand, he keeps on clinging on it. Today, he is in coalition with the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka and Wetangula, and soon they will be joining ODM. I hear that they have been called to Mombasa. I think that Musalia Mudavadi has been perfect in exhibiting high level of cowardice, indecisiveness, and corruption stakes when he was the minister then. And I don't know, and I don't have any track record that I can attribute to Musalia Mudavadi.
Then don't make any remarks about him if you don't have.
I think that what we need for this country is not the same kind of things people keep on lying Kenyans about. What does Musalia mean when he talks of reducing taxes? And that is why I told you, these people have got no idea of what they want to do for the Republic of Kenya. What they keep on mentioning are certain terminologies. For example, saying I will reduce taxes without a gist and
what
a component of what you want to do that. How do you think that you can be able to do a transformation of the economy in this country?
Stop corruption.
Let him finish.
Yes, Amunga,
don't be an heckler.
I think that we are in a very honorable show. And I'm getting, let me not. So, for this republic, what we need, and I want to also correct you here, that you said Kenya needs policies. Where does a policy originate from? A policy originates, and I want to teach you this. We have what is called policy. That is one. We have what are called laws. All of them are called in a general term the word institutions. An institution is an existing either policy, law, tradition, culture, norms, or values that are within a certain ecosystem. It can be an organization or within a government. So for a policy to be, first of all, it must have been developed. And through this development, it goes through various stages, which include being adopted, for example, in our case here in the Republic, in the cabinet. An economic model should be adopted in a manifesto, and which will inform the decisions that the government of the day will make towards its people. And that is why it is called public policy. So when you say that the bottom-up economic model is not a policy, then I want to question your understanding of the word policy, because from my understanding, a policy can exist either in form of a blueprint, a law, or existing, like I said, traditions, norms, or even precedents that are adopted as a day-to-day running of a certain organization. So on that, you need to correct yourself.
Haya, tumefunga.
Okay.
Tusonge kwa sababu tuko na dakika za chini ya 30. Haya, IEBC has declared the election day. There's been a conversation around shifting the election day. Led by Peter's boss, Atuoli. He's been saying, uchaguzi lazima isu. IEBC has said elections must be held. It has even actually gazetted the date of the elections as 9th August 2022. It has also done campaign capping on financing, and I understand there's an MCA used 20 million. And I wonder, MCAs. Hi. So there's a capping, and there's also the gazettement of the election date. What do you make of the announcement by IEBC, Peter?
Yes. First of all, that was timely and it was important. You know, IEBC is a body that is constitutional, and they have a mandate to perform. And among the mandates that IEBC is constitutionally created to perform is set the election calendar, the dates and the calendar. Yeah. And so what they have done is part of their mandate. They have done well. It's acceptable. And my party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, has been very clear that we need to have the election as per the constitution, which is on the second Tuesday of August, the 5th year. So if we go by that, then the 2nd August, the 5th year, is this is actually 1 year from there today. So I think IEBC has done well. Well, as Kenyans, we should not fear elections. Okay. We should be ready for these elections. We should prepare for them. However, we have people also who have got a right to make some comments. Like, for example, Papa Tuoli has questioned, and even Kioni, that there are things that have not been done. For example, number one, the president was sworn in as the president of Kenya not immediately after this election. This election of that time was nullified. So the president was sworn in almost 4 months after of this August. Simply meaning the president has a way to go, his people or his friends or him himself can appeal and say that he has not finished his mandated term. That by that time of August 9th, next year, the president can claim, I have not finished my 5-year term. Now, you know, that is subject to interpretation of the law. And I think even IEBC, I've been reading their commentary here, they have also said they will obey, even in case there is another change, constitutional, to change the date set for the election, they will be abiding by it. So we can prepare for some court battles on this calendar. We can be sure that people like Kioni, because Kioni is saying that his constituency, like Ndaragwa, for example, does not mandate the current law said that if a constitution falls below a certain number of voters, that constitution will be scrapped. Among them is Ndaragwa, where Kioni comes from. And I hear there are 16 other constituencies that may have to be scrapped. Now, the MPs for those regions are saying, why don't we first of all come up with a few changes in the law before we go for the election? They are saying that BBI has kind of derailed. It may delay. Because right now we are waiting for 10 days. The next 5 days or 3 days, they'll be announcing. And we know people will still go to the Supreme Court. So the question that we are asking, and a few Kenyans, and we have to listen to them, is the election date put on stone, and is it molded in stone that it can't be changed? Well, the constitution can be changed. And I think IEBC is agreeing that it can be changed. So all I can say for now is that we, or me as a person, and my party, ANC, we are ready for the election come 2022. But in case there are changes, we are willing to abide.
I think that the only place that the election has been postponed in recent history, which we can allow, is Djibouti, Ismail Omar Guelleh. And I think Mohamed Farmajo tried the same in Somalia. It is not going to happen in Kenya. The issue of elections in Kenya is a political issue, and it is not a court issue like my friend wants to allude. I also think that IEBC must be compelled by all pressure to make sure that they hold the elections on the 9th of August 2022. My friend Amunga, instead of supporting that direction, he is becoming a soft-spoken man when it comes to the date of elections, which I think contradicts the interest of his party and Musalia Mudavadi. That is counterproductive to his narrative. Let me say this.
Okay.
In this country, we have had a history of failed politics when it comes to elections. And for us to evade a circumstance whereby we get ourselves into the troubles that we've had in the past, we must make the electoral process as transparent, fair, and it must always resonate with the laws of the Republic.
Okay.
If we don't do that, and if we have certain people trying to sneak in their own motives into the process, then that is where we build, or rather, that is where a mistrust is built. And the end product is people protesting even the electoral process and lacking faith in it. For IEBC to boost the confidence that Kenyans requires as they go into the August election, I think it is very important for them to affirm the fact that the only date that the elections will be held in Kenya is on the 9th of August. I think for Kioni, to now intimate that there are some constituencies that are going to be scrapped, and thus we should postpone the elections, is being dishonest and is trying to bring his trickery and serving certain vested interests who do not want to go and retire honorably. For us as a country, and this I have said so many times, the Republic of Kenya needs people who are willing to abide by the rules of the game. And in this case, I'm very glad that the former NASA coalition, that is Raila, Wetangula, and the likes, have not started their usual complaints. They have not started their usual pressers that they used to do before the 2017 general election here in Nairobi, every time whining about what is going to happen during the electoral process. Already, the commissioners have been interviewed and their names have been suggested to Parliament. I expect that going forward, and that now that IEBC has already been allocated 26 billion, let them not give us a reason of not conducting voter education. Because
actually, their budget was 46, but they've been short.
Yes, but that has always been their culture to
say they are short.
To say they are short
but
of
you
resources.
see, once they are short, it means
why should we have
the election will not be free and fair.
Why? And this is a question that I want to ask. They have already given a direction for a foreign firm to do the voter register, which I questioned, by the way. And this is a concern, and the candidates of the 2022 elections must make sure that they look into it. We have had a history of, for example, just in 2016, of elections interference by Russia to the elections of the United States. So what would happen when the voter register of the Republic of Kenya gets into the wrong hands and people who have strategic interests in that election? So I want to say, for IEBC, voter education should be mandatory. And I think that stakeholders must now begin talking about this process, which is in...
Ngunjiri, I noted that one of the reasons why they are, some people are a bit careful about this election is the violence we saw in Juja and Kiamba. We are seeing a lot of... The Hustler Nation has been a bit aggressive in the way they do their things. We saw the campaign they led in Juja. There's a lot of volatile kind of campaigns that your team is involved in. There are fears. I think the reason why people like Atwoli are really questioning is, are we as a country ready for an election, or are we preparing another right now for another post-election violence? Because the words we hear from your people and yourself, even sometimes I've listened to even on TV. People talk as if we are enemies, as if we're in some war, you know.
But where was violence?
The likes of Wetangula. You forget that we are brothers. We are a country.
Lakini Peter kuna propaganda. Kulikuwa na vita wapi Juja na Kiamba? No, let's be honest. Where was war?
The Kiambu governor even
Was
stormed
killed.
the...
But that is not Hustler. Is Kiambu governor Hustler?
And a few people were arrested. I don't know if you saw in Kabuchai.
I think
Didmas Barasa,
the word is not volatile, but you should tell them that it's an intense campaign whereby
it's volatile.
People invest their feelings,
There
emotions, and
we are worried that the hustler movement may cause a kind of a volatile election.
No,
we are just worried. We have seen the people how they behaved in Kabuchai, where I was. They even had to be arrested. Talk about Cheregai, Didmas Barasa. In Matungu, we had to arrest people from hustler movement. In the other day, even in Kiamba.
Oh, you arrested them?
No, we saw them arrested.
We had to arrest.
So I wonder.
Deep state.
No, that's not the deep state. So I'm just wondering, are we okay? Are we brothers? Are we still together?
Why were they you cannot fight yourself. So why were they not arresting part of the site? You're saying the rest of
the noise that comes out from the hustler nation.
I think that unfortunately, my friends in the other side, that is our competitors, have a very limited understanding of competitive politics. We cannot shelve a democratic process just because of the fears that there's going to be somebody here in one corner causing trouble. I think you guys need to be ready, because us, we are ready. And for you to keep on complaining and saying, and this is a constant call for the leadership of this country, all of them, we need now to start talking about how the IEBC must conduct this election. I think at least all stakeholders... You
all need IEBC to do a free and fair election, regardless of where you sit.
But also politics plays a big role. The president was very clear, I will not leave this country in the hands of, use the word, thieves. So meaning the president also is interested in who succeeds him.
President is not IEBC.
But he is interested.
You want a free and fair IEBC?
I will not leave. I want you to.
I will be part of the process. The president says, I am going to be part of this process.
I want you to separate the president from all what is happening, because the president in 2017, you can count the number of votes that he got and where he got them from. I want to tell you this morning that from the stronghold of the president, it's already decided. So even if he was going to say, this is what I think I need, unless the president will conform with what his people want, then the people will be in tandem with him. But as we speak, William Ruto has won the hearts of the people of Mount Kenya, where the president can now claim to have political legitimacy.
I tend to think, Bitok, I want to give you a chance to your listeners, but I tend to think the problem we have, we need reforms in the IEBC. What we are talking about right now, we all know, even as we speak, the IEBC is not well constituted as we speak. The commissioners are not yet there. We hear there are some who have been selected by the president, and already we are seeing the gender rule is already going to ensure this process may not even go on. Because the ones who are selected don't meet the 2/3 gender rule. So meaning if the president appoints them or parliament appoints them, again we are going back to the basics. Why BBI was important, and that's why Musalia has said he wanted BBI at that time, was to bring about reforms in IEBC. As it stands right now, the IEBC is still a weak link for this country. The way it is constituted, and when you hear politicians say, I will ensure this country doesn't I won't hand over power to thieves, meaning some other power will also be involved in selecting who is going to rule and who is not a thief. So meaning IEBC is not the only person who is going to determine the next leader in this country. IEBC must be reformed.
You are highly deluded to think that the people of Kenya will not elect their president
using which
organism and make a decision that they have installed someone. I want to give you an example of the just concluded Kiamba by-elections where the president had a very high stake and interest. He even hosted the candidate at State House. But that never prevented the people of Kiamba and Juja from expressing their will. So when you keep on telling us these are totally rhetoric, which I'm tired of, that certain people will not be allowed to be president even if they are elected, or they will not be in the ballot, then I wonder in which Kenya you live, when you just have had a recent example. I want to tell you, Amunga, that the Hustler Nation is ready for a very peaceful election. But we also wish to caution those that have certain motives to distract the process, because we must have an IEBC must conduct a very free and fair election and make sure that the person who is going to be voted in by Kenyans, just like it happened in Kiambaa, is the one who will be declared president. So I don't know what dark forces you're talking about. And this is the same tension that we could see from ODM before 2017, where your presidential candidate was part of. Each and every time bringing us all these kind of tensions, keeping on complaining about the IEBC, telling us the election will be rigged. I don't know who is going to determine this. I want you to understand that all stakeholders have a right to speak about the process, and we're having a conversation about the IEBC right now.
Yeah.
But I also want to caution you from infiltrating Kenyans with very dirty motives that are going to cause tension in this country, that their vote on William Ruto will not count. This is not a banana republic.
I've not mentioned
We
William
are
Ruto.
a democratic society, and we are not a monarch, my friend.
I've only mentioned
Alright.
the president. The president said, this is the president who used those words, not Amunga.
So do you agree with it? If he doesn't give power, if Musalia Mudavadi is elected president, the president said, no, I'm not going to give him power, will you be happy?
Yeah, that's why I need a good, credible IEBC.
That's what
That's
the
what I'm saying. I
convention we
just
have.
need a good IEBC.
All right, let's talk about also IEBC has declared that they are not preparing for a referendum. Earlier, there were aspersions or suggestions that IEBC was preparing for a referendum. They said we are not preparing for a referendum. That's a BBI referendum. So the question is, what is the fate of BBI? 10 days to the ruling.
Yeah. BBI
Because IEBC is already having a conversation around the elections.
BBI is dead. Let me just come clear on this one, that I don't think BBI is going to really be the next thing to move us through. The referendum cannot be held now. As it stands right now, with the calendar out, you can see in that calendar there's nothing like a referendum. So BBI required a referendum. BBI needed some changes that needed a referendum. So simply what we are saying is, as it stands today, we can actually want to say that BBI may not happen unless, and I must use those words, unless, that the government and the parliamentarians are able to push the date of the election. We have people like Kion who have told us, and people like Atwoli who have told us, that government has enough people in parliament right now. The ODM and the Jubilee Kieleweke, they are able to gang up and push the election to another date. We are being told it is possible. It can happen through an act of parliament, you know. So we are being told that these things, if it happens, then it will give room for BBI. If that doesn't happen, then BBI is gone. Okay. Now, Musalia Mudavadi has given a solution. If BBI doesn't work, because we want to reform IEBC, we can't go to the election.
Why do you need BBI to reform IEBC?
That was the reason why there was a handshake.
Okay.
The reason why we had a handshake and the reason why we had BBI, the main reason was IEBC.
So why have they not
IEBC
reformed
needs
it?
to be reformed. That's why the
3 years
election was
down the
nullified.
line, why have they not reformed it?
So-
Post-handshake.
Come again?
Post-handshake, 3 years down the line, why
Yes.
have they not reformed
They have
it?
been arguing. There's been a lot of arguing, push and pull. Ngunjiri, let me tell you, my brother, if IEBC is not reformed, Kenyans will go to war. Because right now, the way we look at the way things are going, things are not looking nice. We need an IEBC that's well constituted. We need some basic, what we had, Dawad is talking about IPPG, inter-party parliamentary groupings, whereby we have got inter-parties in parliament. They can start discussing on a level playing field. How can we go to elections with some minimal reforms on the IEBC? This calendar that IEBC has produced, yes, they are within their mandate, but I can assure you, this calendar can be contested. Even the money they are capping, which presidential candidates should use, which an MCA should use, these are things that should need to be properly constituted. These things are not anchored in law. That's why we are saying, IEBC needs to be reformed. Some of the decisions that IEBC makes need to be put and anchored in law so that Kenyans can go for a free, fair, and credible election. The reason why BBI is in court today and why BBI may even be thrown out this coming week is because the lawyers have argued very successfully that the IEBC is not even possible. It does not have it's not well composed to hold a referendum.
Okay. All right. Ngunjiri.
In our current context as a democratic state, the only reasons that would be legitimately so and politically understood as a reason to postpone elections is when we have, for example, a crisis and there
Like
is
COVID-19.
a declaration of the state of emergency. Not COVID-19, that's a global issue that has been contained. It could be maybe at the occurrence of a certain intercommunity war, for example, like the one we had in 2007. But all this craze about every time people trying to instigate certain motivations from certain corners that we need to postpone elections is what we decided and what we have rejected in the imperial venom called BBI. Because in this case, I don't know and I don't understand how you need a BBI for you to reform IEBC, or how you need a BBI for you to have, for example, candidates conceding the outcomes of an election, which has been a constant problem in Kenya. And that is what I am calling Raila Odinga for, because he's the one who has always precipitated all this crisis. He has run for 5 times. He has not captured power. He has lost all of them. But each and every time he keeps on telling his people that I want this election. This is a culture that is inborn and inherent to Raila Odinga. So how do we cure that?
By
Do we
BBI?
really need to use BBI for us to be able to cure that culture? I think that as Kenyans, and this is a discussion that we are supposed to have, all these presidential candidates must tell us that for us to go into this election, first of all, let us agree that there are rules of the game here. And in a football match, not the players
Yes.
that will determine what shall be done by the referee.
Yeah.
We must allow the referee to do their job. But at the same time,
Yes.
because the referee gave a penalty to this team, that was a decision that was based on the judgment of the referee, based on the evidence on the ground, that maybe somebody was foul at the box. So we need to have an agreement
Ngunjiri, do you think
that
the IEBC is
in
okay?
a democratic process, there has always to be a winner and a loser.
Do you think the referee
That is the
fair?
problem. The problem here is not for us to start having a prejudice on what the IEBC is going to do right now, even when we as the people who are participating in elections have not agreed to the rules of the game. So how do you go to a game when you don't first agree that when someone is fouled at the box, that's a penalty? So this is the problem that I think Raila Odinga and the former NASA candidates, because they are the ones who in history have shown us that they have never accepted
Considered
the
defeat.
outcome of a democratic process. This is a democratic process, and we must be willing, and every Kenyan must be willing sometimes to agree. You lose battles, sometimes you win.
Do you agree that IBC is properly constituted for 2022?
I think that this is a discussion that all stakeholders, and I don't know why people are keeping quiet about it, because the whole process of those commissioners, it is not properly constituted.
That's
because
true.
it's not full house.
That's good.
But this is a discussion that is supposed to be majorly.
That discussion is called BBI. That
No,
discussion
it's,
about
it's
is
not
called
about
BBI.
BBI, but it's going to be, or rather, it's supposed to be by the stakeholders of this election. You understand?
Yeah, or IPPG. Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, we cannot have a process, or rather, we cannot have our cake and eat it, my friend Amunga. So let us allow the independent institutions, even if we are having these conversations each and every day, let us allow them to be and do their job.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
All right.
fair enough.
Okay, I think that's fair enough for you guys.
No. So I want to say something.
Okay, very quickly.
Yes. You know, I've loved something. I've enjoyed listening to this conversation. As we go into 2022, and as the calendar comes out for IEBC, a lot of lies and a lot of rumors are coming up, which I want our listeners to, and Kenyans especially, to be very worried about these rumors. Like I saw a rumor come, I don't know, was it from this media house or another one?
Why do you want to accuse us of that?
I saw a rumor come from one of these media houses that my deputy party leader, Ayub Savula, has defected to Hustler movement. I want to say no, it's not true. Deputy Party Leader Ayub Savula, and please capture it in your social media accounts, he is still the Deputy Party Leader of Musalia Mudavadi. He is an ANC member. He has not defected.
Okay.
Again, there was a clip that has done rounds, and it has caused a lot of hue and cry in Western region. This clip was done by our friend and my father and my elder, Papa Francis Atwoli.
Yeah.
And in the clip he's heard, we are yet to prove. I'm not a court, or I'm not a good person to really prove if the clip is right or not. But in the clip, Atwoli is heard saying something like that the people who work with Musalia Mudavadi, talking about Barack Muluka, talking about even Kabatesi, talking about, and this morning I've seen Kabatesi trending on Twitter, talking about somebody called Eliud Owalo, that all of them are moles of DP Ruto. They are in Ruto's camp. And he has given evidence. He has even said that for Kabatesi, his hospital bills were paid by the Hustler movement. So his point is that Mudavadi is working with people who are actually in Hustler movement. I want to really refuse that. On behalf of the Mudavadi team, I want to say Mudavadi is a man independent. He's his own man.
Okay.
Mudavadi has a campaign team that is his own. Kabatesi, people have their rights if they want to meet with William Ruto. For example, the governor of Kakamega is called Oparanya. Oparanya has been seen with William Ruto many times. Do we start saying that because Oparanya is been seen with Ruto, is a mole of Raila in Uda? Papa Francis Atwoli is a KANU life member. But when he talks, you see ODM. We are saying, do we therefore say that Papa Francis Atwoli is a mole of Gideon Moi in ODM? People are free to associate, but they know where they belong.
You also say the ANC is a kiosk.
He also said that ANC is a kiosk. That is what has really annoyed the Western nation. I believe that Elder Papa Atwoli should not make such statements. ANC, even if it's a kiosk, it is our kiosk. We are happy to be in our kiosk.
You say Mudavadi uses it to solicit for money.
Yeah, no, that is wrong. Okay. Where has got the wholesale called Uda taken people? Or where is the supermarket called ODM taken people?
It is not Uda.
It's
UDA.
So Uda, yeah? You say Uda?
UDA.
UDA,
Yes,
Uda.
yes.
So I'm trying to say this. You cannot refer to something that somebody has as a... That is demeaning. And we don't want that. We are trying to say, let us leaders give each other respect. It is the hustlers who keep abusing people. We are telling our leaders, let's not be like the hustlers. Let's stop abusing people. Let us reach a place whereby as Kenyans we talk without insults.
Now, I want to send you, because this has been a concern from certain leaders and who told me this. Go and tell Mudavadi to dismantle the Luya party and at least involve others in that party called ANC. Let him not make it a party for Busia, Kakamega, and if he goes further, Vihiga there. Let him, if he indeed have a serious plan for Kenya, come out of the tribal cocoon and liberate himself from the tribal echelon. Number two,
it's not true.
I also want to tell you that Owalo and Barack Muluka are not goats. For them to be said that they are moles working with the deputy president, they have an independent mind, and they have assessed, done the analysis, and they have come up with a conclusion that Musalia Mudavadi will not be president in Kenya. So how do you work with a losing team? That explains the reason why they are working with William Ruto.
That's
Again,
not true.
You are quiet.
I also want to send you to Moses Wetangula. Tell him that he must make his party for Kenya not a Bungoma party, but a national party, if he wants Kenyans to listen to him. That is the fact. And for us, like you have already seen, our party UDA has now gone up to the mark of over 2 million people. Registration process already ongoing. You already have a member of parliament. We have an MCA already. And already within the Hustler Nation also, we have another member of parliament called George Koimburi from Juja. That is to say that the people of Mount Kenya, and this has been a call that we are giving to our people and all the supporters of the Hustler Nation, we seek to always involve each and everybody in this conversation that is ongoing about transformation of the economy, while others continue to hold alcohol and mineral water bottles.
I have to respond to that. I knew it will come up.
Insulting us.
I knew it will come to that.
Telling us that the bottom up is something else. I think they need to respect Kenyans, and we need to have at least some decorum when we talk about the
Moses
affairs of
Kuria
Kenya.
has abused
This way,
Kimemia.
we shall go on.
Let him finish, then you'll talk.
Every time, I mean, I don't know why.
Lakini sikieni mwananchi kwanza hapa kidogo.
I don't know why I have a feeling that Amunga started his politics at Jivanji. I don't know why I'm feeling like that.
Sikieni mwananchi anasemaje. Jambo.
Hello.
Haraka.
I'm called Kitonui from Kiambu.
Okay.
Niko na maswali yenye I will direct to Amunga. Ya kwanza ni hiyo venye Ngunjiri amesema ANC should be a national party. What are they going to do to ensure that ANC is a national party? Because we want a unison party. We want a party which is not from a region and which is not working on the same region. Then, another question. Let Amunga not bring tensions to Kenya. I'm in Kiambu, and here we know that people are ready for elections to determine. There is no other person who can determine elections, not unless they are Kenyan.
Okay. Asante sana.
Yes.
Haya, hiyo ni mambo ya mwananchi amezungumza. Asante sana. Haya, now guys, now this will be interesting for all of you. Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga in Mombasa, and the dailies has insinuated that the biggest part of the discussion was around succession politics. Uhuru and Raila, not Uhuru and Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula and Kalonzo Musyoka and William Ruto. Uhuru and Raila discussing succession in Mombasa. You'll have another sitting today. What are your thoughts, Amunga?
Yes.
Just when you are telling us Uhuru is the one who will hand over power.
I have a newspaper next to me here, and it says Uhuru to meet the former NASA
Yes, Ngoni. Ngoni haraka kidogo. Martin.
Hey,
Jambo.
good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Habari ya leo.
Safi.
Mimi nahurumia sana Mudavadi. Kama kina Amunga ndo wanamuadvise. Huyu jamaa atakuwa na kazi ngumu sana. And then the politics has already changed. Ruto has picked his opponent. Na his opponent is not Raila. His opponent is not Mudavadi. His opponent is not Kalonzo Musyoka.
Who is his opponent?
He's picked his fight with Uhuru. So that is the
Uhuru
person
will not
that
be on
is
the
going
ballot.
to- Yeah, no. Uhuru intends to stop Ruto from being the president. So already the battle has already shifted. So I don't know, because you as you can see already, Ruto is not engaging these other guys. He's already started engaging the state. So I don't know which strategy these people are going to be used to fight Ruto, because you see, once somebody has already picked a fight with somebody else, you cannot go there into that fight. That's why you see the ODM camp wanabweka lakini hakuna mtu ana respond. You see, because when you look at a case of Mudavadi, if the likes of Amunga are the ones that are advising him, then he has a lot of issues. When you look at people like Savula, Savula definitely, I don't think even is going to come back as an MP. That is the issue. And if you go to Lugari, they'll tell you that. So things have already started to become thick, and time is really moving so fast. So I think the best thing that these people should be telling Mudavadi, you know what, pick a team that you want to join as early as now. Because definitely Mudavadi cannot be able to be a president alone on his own. He has like 6 MPs.
Okay.
And maybe two of them are nominated. So
Uda has one. Uda has only one.
Okay. Asante Martin. All right. Aya, I think those calls would be enough because of time. I think we're already 6 minutes past time. Aya, Mombasa, very quickly.
Mombasa, we are represented. Okay, also it's not important. You know, I don't know, and I've said it on this show many times. Uhuru is a baggage to any presidential candidate. If Uhuru is the person that Raila is hanging on,
You change so fast.
no, that's a fact. I say Uhuru Ruto, that kind of pair that was called Uhuru Ruto, to me, that's the worst kind of people I can want to be associated with. If I want to be associated with anybody, I'd rather talk about Kibaki. People who have something to show they have done.
I thought you said Uhuru was Oka's glue.
No.
Okay.
So we have been invited. I want to tell you that Musalia Kalonzo, in fact, Kalonzo must have flown into Mombasa yesterday evening. So the discussion in Mombasa is not just about succession. I tend to think the president is interested in whom he leave power to. I don't think he's discussing just Raila alone. He's discussing, gentlemen, what's going to happen? Because the president is clear that he has to have a hand in who will succeed him.
Okay.
He made it clear that he'll have a hand. So I tend to think what is happening in Mombasa is that the president is trying to now use that hand. And let me tell you, people who ask normally
So
say
you
that,
want a credible election, but your candidate is also participating in an illegal way of influencing elections.
No, it's not illegal.
democratic process.
There are many ways. I've said on this table again before. There are many ways of winning an election.
Do you want a credible election?
A credible election?
Credible
with free and fair.
Free and fair and credible.
But there
Do
are
you
many
want
other factors that come into play for there to be a credible election. We're talking about foreign powers. Talking about the UK. I'm not talking about Turkey. Turkey has never been involved. I'm talking about countries that matter, like I'm talking about the USA. And all these countries may have to come into play. There are so many foreign vested interests. And so presidential elections are not determined like what you saw in Kiamba. That was child play. Those were nothing. Those by-elections are just jokes. A presidential election is determined by so many other factors than just hyping and singing slogans.
What if Odavadi had not been invited?
We've told him Davadi is not. In fact, to be near Raila is even a disadvantage to the Luhya community and even to us as voters. We don't even want to be near Raila. Even we don't want to be seen with Raila.
But he's going to be seen with Raila and to be seen with Uhuru, who is a baggage. Okay, Ngunjiri.
I think, my friends, the earlier you realize that Raila Odinga is the one that is controlling everything there, the better. In fact, for strategic reasons, ANC and the likes of Kalonzo should have stayed away from such meetings. But that is not for me to determine. I want to say that, and because you are telling me that time is gone.
Yeah.
So what I want to say that thank you very much for this conversation. And I think that we've had.
What are your thoughts about the Mombasa meeting? Because it said
about the Mombasa meeting, I think that apart from what was there in 2017, that is the Raila numbers and maybe Kalonzo's numbers, Musalia Mudavadi's numbers, I don't think that there is anything else that is going to come out that is meaningful to add any value to any of those in the presidential campaigns. I think that while people retreat in the coast to go and discuss how they shall partition, scramble, and share this country, the deputy president was in Naivasha discussing with the people of Nyanza on how they are going to develop themselves through economic liberation. That tells you that there is a contrast between those that always think about power and others who think about Kenyans at the grassroots. I think for the Mombasa meeting, it's not going to be of any significance to the numbers that they seek for 2022. I think that in where we are going and where the race is going, the election and the people of Kenya shall have a stake and determine this based on issues.
Okay.
They will not determine on whether somebody was endorsed or whatever things that happened. So if, am I winding up?
Yes, please.
So if my friend Amunga is going to speak to Musalia Mudavadi, let him tell him that he has done so many strategic blunders. He has portrayed a high level of cowardice and indecisiveness. If he wants to lead Kenya, he must first of all lead the people that he seeks as his advisors. He has lost the likes of Barack Muruka. He has lost in his area. He has lost members of parliament to Jubilee, the likes of Didimas Barasa. So I don't think that Mudavadi right now is a serious presidential candidate.
Okay.
As I finish, let me end by saying that as Hustler Nation, we shall continue. We have a by-election in Meru, another 2 others, I think, in Northeastern and in Eastern Province. We shall be continuing to bring more people into our movement. We shall continue talking to Kenyans, engaging them in meaningful conversations that seek to transform their day-to-day livelihoods. I end by quoting Aristophanes the frog, that if you rise, let us rise together in honor, and if we fall, let it be so. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the fall of the
if we fall,
narrative.
Let it be so.
Let it be so. Let the hustler narrative fall, because it can be dangerous. But I'm also winding by saying that a presidential win is not euphoria. Okay. It's not masses. It's not the noise and the tialalas and the T-beams. If that was the case, Raila would have been back president.
So in short, it's not a democratic process. Okay. It's not credible.
Yeah. No. You are distracting me, and I was really putting my thoughts together.
Okay.
So those euphorias and the tialalas will not make the president of this country. Musalia Mudavadi is speaking about the economy, and he's reaching out to everybody in this country. He's not a person of only Western. He has been received the other day in Murang'a. We were in Nyandarua. We were in Nyeri. The governor received us. Yeah, he was called Masharia. He was in Kirinyaga, and in fact, I don't even remember the last time Musalia was even in Western. Our Secretary General for the ANC Party, Muluka, went, and good riddance. Let him go to those tialalas of hustler movement. We are expecting a Secretary General, Musalia said, is naming one from Central Province. Okay. He named him. Actually, when we were at the governor's office in Nyeri, he said and promised that our Secretary General will be from Central, Mount Kenya region.
What's the name?
We are not saying it on radio here. Then apart from that, I will say that he has MPs. We have a governor in Nyamira. The governor for Nyamira is an ANC member. He's called, when you go to Kwale, the MP for Matuga is called Kasim Tandaza. I want him to come to this show one of these days. He's an ANC member. He's from ANC. So many people mistake. Musalia is not a noisemaker, so that you keep thinking that he has people everywhere. Issa Timami, the MP for the governor for Lamu, who finally lost, but he was an ANC member. So we have had people from across the country. Musalia is coming up with a team. And nobody be cheated that Musalia doesn't have finances. He needs money from Raila.
We have 20 minutes past time.
He will not get any money from Raila or anybody. Musalia is a man of his own. He has his money. Tukutane kwa debe 2022 saa 8 wakati kama huu watakuwa wametangaza Musalia Mudavadi the 5th president of Kenya.
That's a funny joke.
Tukutane kwa debe ya unga. It's been a pleasure having you guys on the State of the Nation. It's been an amazing conversation. I hope to see you guys again until tomorrow on Siasa Wednesday. Take care. Thank you for the guys. Poleni sana, nilinyonga leo bunge la mwenye nchi kwa sababu niliona hapa mchuano ilikuwa hatari, lakini nilisikia wale watu ambao wameweza kuchukua kwa simu, wale ambao nilikosa kuchukua pia. Poleni. Tutaweza kuonana kesho. Kesho tutaanza mapema na simu. Tutaanza na simu mapema kesho. Tuanze kusikia sauti zenu. Until tomorrow, take care. This has been the State of the Nation, the Tackle State of the Nation edition of the 10th of August 2021. And we have been having Ngunjiri. Kimani Ngunjiri. Kuria Ngunjiri. Karaoke Ngunjiri.
But by the way, I'm not in any way related to Ngunjiri Wambugu.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not in any way.
Why did you have to refuse to? You started to
Wambugu. I have always been in this constant thinking that we should investigate whether the gene of Ngunjiri Wambugu is from Gema, because he's certainly from somewhere else.
Alright. And Peter Amunga, jamaa ANC akalanyaka
Kanya lavandu vospe.
Bas. Tuonane kesho kwenye Siasa Wednesday. This is the Tackle and it ends now. Bye bye. We love you.
Thank you.